first I'm going to talk about a poll. I'm just going to take a little poll. And what I'm going to ask you to do is type your answer in the chat, but don't press enter. Okay, so type your answer. You're going to type your answer in the pad chat, but you're not going to submit it until I say go. All right. Mm-hmm. So the question is, what do these terms have in common? Duet, stitch, blind react, put a finger down, and shadow band. And these are your choices.
Wow.
Okay, go.
Yeah.
They're not related. Yeah. TikTok terms, but I guessed it. Yeah. So these are largely more popular on your TikTok environment. Yeah. So we'll talk about them towards the end, but if you're on TikTok, these are things you'll see quite frequently. The last two are types of videos or topics of videos, and the first three are the first two are techniques, and the third one is another kind of duet or stitch you can do. Okay, so I'm going to talk about what is TikTok, why I love TikTok, why I think it is so cool, and maybe you will too. I don't know. And then where you can get started. I'm going to talk about mostly Native and Indigenous creators that are quite popular, and then how to make a TikTok very briefly. I will talk about how to make a TikTok. So, but it sounds like most of you are not recognizing the TikTok language, so I'm going to keep this kind of basic for. But if Dan can take us into a deeper rabbit hole, that would be welcome. Okay. So what is TikTok? TikTok is short videos. They're 15 seconds or 60 seconds. I think you can, I was reading a little bit, you can, if you get enough followers, you get enough likes on your videos, you can do longer videos. But I've very rarely seen a longer video. And definitely when you're starting out, 15 seconds is just a great way to start. You scroll through them with a swipe. They just come at you. It's like 15 seconds, and then it's the next video. Or that one replays until you swipe up, and then it's another video. You're not going and searching again after your 15 seconds are up. So it's a pretty addictive piece of equipment here. It picks your videos. This is a little hard to kind of give a grasp on, but again, you're not searching for them. When you start out on TikTok, you fill out a basic questionnaire, and I don't remember much about it, but I remember they gave you a bunch of like nouns or adjectives, and you just sort of circled, I don't know, 5-10 of them that were of interest to you. So I pick dogs. And then TikTok can be a very political place. So, you pick your political terms, and then it starts feeding you videos. And as you're going along, you start to like, you start to share, you start to follow creators that you like. And so then it gives you more of what you like. So you have, there's the For You page, and then there's a following page. And so you can keep just sort of adjusting things so that more and more of the videos are of interest to you. And they have this algorithm. It's worth billions of dollars. Nobody knows exactly what it is. It's like their trade secret, but it sort of has some sort of way of determining, we think Elizabeth's going to like this video, and we don't think she's going to like this one, so we're not going to show her that one. other sort of kind of is you just pick up your phone and you record a video. You can add special effects, you can add a background, you can do it, but it's not meant to be slick and produced and you know, it takes a long period of time. It's meant to be like, what am I thinking right now? And let me share that with you. Right. So the more slick it is, the more it's kind of, I think, passed over. I don't think that's what's attractive to people. People like to be just that it is an informal environment. It's also much better on the phone, much better than on the computer. I was having trouble getting videos to play on my computer. It was just time-wise. They really are designed to look nice on the phone and to play nice on the phone. YouTube looks better to me on the big screen, but this is really meant for the phone. So do you now all understand what TikTok is? Because until you go into it, I don't think it's real easy to explain what it is.
And would you say,
if you have any questions or
yeah,
yes, please.
So would you say that it's really kind of more for entertainment than for, you know, like you said, YouTube you can have long videos, training, information about some topic or other, a how-to, you know, YouTube video, for example. You don't really use TikTok for that, right? It's just too short. What can you really explain in 60 seconds?
You can explain your opinion on something, and you can teach people. There was a guy who I just started following, I think on Saturday, and there was a New York Times article about him yesterday. So I'm going to talk to him about him a little bit. He grew up as one of the largest preachers, evangelical preachers in the country. He's the son of that man, and he is not of the faith anymore. And he gives little videos, and he just will talk about, do you know where the idea comes from that men say men say fewer words in a day than a woman? Do you know where that comes from? That comes from James Dobson. And he'll kind of give you the history of that, and he'll tell you why it's destructive, and in 60 seconds.
Is it Schaefer?
So it has a very Piper.
Okay.
He has long gray hair. He has he's a young guy with long gray hair.
Oh,
like shoulder length bob kind of deal. Yes, he's the puzzle maker.
You're talking about.
Yeah. So he is, so like there is this education piece. There's also like all kinds of tricks. Right now they're getting people to put flour in their face or something. So there's pranks that are on there. So there is that entertainment piece for sure. But there's what's really, I think, drawing people to it is an affinity. Like you can find people like you or that share views with you, even if you are a Democrat living in West Texas. You can find people who think like you do. And you can, for Native Americans, you can find a majority. Right? You can find people who are interested in what you're interested in. You can find hobbyists that are interested in what you did, and they might show you a trick in 60 seconds. There's a lot of doctors showing chiropractic exercises. There are, so there is an education piece to this, and it has a very didactic tone in a lot of videos where somebody is talking to you about something that they're passionate about that comes across as teaching. So I wouldn't say it's just entertainment, but you don't know the credentials or the credibility of any of these people that are telling you these things. I know about this Piper guy because of the New York Times article. I was interested in his videos on Saturday, but I didn't really know his background until I read the article. So, there is some danger to that, of course, that you're getting advice. Right now, they're telling COVID people who can't smell to burn an orange on the stove. And if you burn the orange, then peel the orange, you'll suddenly taste things again. I don't know if it works. I'm kind of curious, but I have my sense of smell, so I don't know. Right. So there's the credibility piece that exists elsewhere, right? How do you know this person is qualified to speak? And it's probably a little bit higher. It's probably more lacking that credibility piece on TikTok because there's not the information at the bottom. You can get to more information about the creator, but not much more. They don't have to provide much more. I think on a TikTok account, you have a little bit more information about who provided it. Not necessarily, but that's not what's a focus of TikTok at all. So, okay. So the good and the bad. One, it's free. It amplifies voices. So voices that are in the minority can find like-minded, they can find friends, they can find fans, they can find information, and not feel so isolated and alone. So it was a lot of people found their voice during COVID when they were stuck at home. And especially young people who didn't have school anymore. This was a way to connect with other people. And you're not limited to just the people in your school. You can now talk to people throughout the country or throughout the world. You can find people who share your interests or share your thoughts, or not your thoughts, but your viewpoint on things. And it doesn't need a Mac. It doesn't need editing software. It doesn't need all this stuff. You can create a pretty good TikTok just on your phone and just with TikTok. So that's the good. The bad is it's highly addictive. There's a password feature where after an hour it comes on and you need to enter a password, and it sort of gives you a little, hey, shouldn't you be doing something else message like after 2 hours.
Wow.
And I've hit both of those. So I will tell you, it is highly addictive because they just keep coming, and each one is different than the last, and it's a different take on it, and it can really do it. Because yeah.
I just wanted to quick comment on that. It sounds like eating popcorn, right? You know, what's one more? What's another 10 seconds? What's another 10 seconds?
Right.
Before you know it, an hour is
Right.
gone by.
And you feel like you're missing something, right?
Yeah.
And there's something about maybe it's just my creators, and I hope Dan can speak to this a little bit more, but there's a little bit of like you become, especially, you know, in the height of COVID when we're all so isolated, there's this sense of community and not wanting to let a creator down. And if you didn't keep clicking through, you were kind of like, you might force their video not to be as popular, because I don't know, I feel sort of a connection to it. Maybe that's just me, but I felt there's some creators I feel for them, and they show emotion in a way, because the way they hold the camera, or the way what they're speaking about, you feel this little bit of like wanting to support them, and they're reaching out, and some of them are reaching out in some pain, and you want to support them, and so that feeds the addictive for me. Strengthens the divide. So what I meant by this strengthening the divide is that because of the way the algorithm works, I don't see, how do I put this the right way? I don't see content I don't like. So I don't see content of people who disagree with me. And that, I think, is part of the whole problem that we're seeing across the country right now, is that you're not hearing the other viewpoint, and everything you hear supports your viewpoint. It makes the divide that we're feeling in this country, the divisions that we're feeling, that much stronger. And TikTok is just thrives on that. It's I do not hear dissenting voices on my TikTok unless someone is stitching them and showing them and then rebutting them. So and because they stitch, what they mean is they show like 10 seconds of somebody else, some racist ranting about something, and then they come in and they refute it. So I know those videos are out there. They're just not coming to my TikTok. So I think to some extent that's a negative. Go ahead.
I was going to say, there are ways in which people encounter each other, the other side. But it may end up flowing to the same point you're making. One of them, I do this, I will use a hashtag that I know people in the other camp like, and that draws them to me. I can also go out of my way to look for them. And I clearly, a lot of people on political TikTok do that. But at the end of the day, because it's a 1-minute exchange, and I don't know how many characters you get if you write something, it's even more polarizing when you do encounter each other. It's almost impossible to have a thoughtful conversation. So the usual social media one-upmanship games dominate. So I think that makes it even more strengthening the divide, even when we do talk to each other, because they just become reasons to hate each other more.
Oh.
Right. So yeah, and it might be just I got on it. I really got into it probably October, November. So that was the election time, right? So that's where I really got into kind of political TikTok more than that. So it can be kind of intense. There's a connection to the Chinese government, and I don't know how much we care about this, but because we're giving away all information for free, but there anyway on all the other apps, but ByteDance is the American subsidiary of a company that developed this product. It has a different name. I think it's Douban. I'm not sure I remember the Chinese name for it, but this is a Chinese app originally created in China. It's huge in China. They came over to the United States as a subsidiary of that company. That company in China, of course, gives information and access to the Chinese government, as do most Chinese social media companies, or all Chinese social media companies. So there was concern, especially in Congress, that our personal information, our political views, our hobbies, our whatever was being shared with the Chinese government. And so there is a tenuous connection. There was an attempt, I think, by the Trump administration to get ByteDance sold to an American corporation. Oracle, Microsoft were in bidding wars for it. I think it fell apart because they wouldn't give up the algorithm. They wouldn't share the algorithm at the end of the day. But that political that is out there as a reason against TikTok. Is that some of your information might be shared with the Chinese government. Mm-hmm. You spend 5 minutes on TikTok, it's hard to know what a value there is to the Chinese government, but a case could be made against TikTok for it. But pet videos or kids videos are the most popular. I just don't see it. But if you want to understand how to manipulate an American audience like the Russians did in 2016, there's an argument that this kind of entertainment leads to that kind of intelligence gathering. Anyway, and there's bullying. People can easily comment on your video, and they can comment about anything about you and so it's really hard. I'm on a lot of followers that are talking about body positivity. And so you have people sharing their selves, their identity, their stress, their depression, their vulnerabilities. And then you have comments about, well, just go take a walk or go, stop eating all those chips, and like just totally dismissive and whatever. And it's very easy trolling, and this is a much bigger problem than TikTok, but TikTok seems to me to be people seem to share more personal information, and they seem to share more of their vulnerabilities in the idea of my supporters are on here, there's fans on here, I want to connect with people during COVID. And then there's this bullying in the face of that, and that can get in. That's really hard sometimes to hear about and to see happening. So any other goods or bads, Dan?
Or you muted.
I can't think of anything really off the top of my head. Sorry, no.
Okay, got it. Okay, and there's other people who've joined, and I don't know I'm not familiar with all their names. So if you know more about TikTok, I said at the beginning, I'm not a TikTok expert. I'm just like it. And so I was asked to talk about it. So if you have something else that you want to talk about, the good and the bad of TikTok, or as we go into this, definitely speak up.
And I'm sorry, I just thought of two.
Okay, go ahead.
One, I don't think it's unique to TikTok, but one of the concerns is doxing. People might be able to find you, especially if you're sharing a whole bunch of information around your house. I know sometimes when I make a video, I kind of look around to see what somebody might see behind me. I think that's more of a concern in political TikTok than a lot of other things. But hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about, when basically people who don't like you find out your personal information, and the next thing you know, your boss is getting calls about, whatever they want to say. Every now and then that does happen. So there is that. And actually I forget the other, but anyway, that's one concern that I think has come up with
So there was a nurse who shared a racist symbol on a video. She created a little TikTok. From a COVID ward, she shared a racist symbol, and people went down a rabbit trail and figured out where she worked, and she got fired. And so there's frequently what'll happen is that there's these intelligence guys, former intelligence guys, who will post a video and they'll express their political views. A commenter will come in and say, you're full of whatever. And then the next thing you know, that commenter's Facebook page, their dentist, their book list from Amazon is all posted in a video responding to that. So yep. That's a good one, Dan. That's a good one. Yep.
And the term for that is called rabbit trailing?
Doxting.
Oh, doxting.
Right, Dan? Is that the term you said?
I don't think there's a T. It's DOXING, doxing.
Doxing.
Yeah.
So are you guys talking about using program algorithms and things to actually triangulate your location based off of, I saw that with concerns with land formations or even buildings, and a computer basically could generate a space and figure out where you're at. Is that what you're talking about?
We're talking about specifically on TikTok. If you comment negatively on somebody, or they'll come back at you. Some of them will come back at you with posting specific information, private information about you.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be your
ways to do it.
Yeah, it's not just your location sometimes, but it's like I saw on Saturday, I saw Amazon book lists and dentists name their dentist, and I mean that would freak me out. I gotta say that would freak me out if somebody came back at me with all that information out there.
Well, and my understanding is sometimes this happens on a scale that is just unimaginable. People have had, hundreds of hate mail messages sent to them, folks following them, finding out where their homes are, calling their bosses. It doesn't happen to many, but when it happens, it can happen on a scale that is incredible. Not specific to TikTok, but I don't know if any of you remember, there was a woman who went to South Africa and she said, I hope I don't get AIDS. Just kidding, I'm not Black. By the time she landed, millions of people had gone after her. And actually, she was trying to make a kind of ironic joke, but she lost her job. She lost an awful lot of stuff. Literally, in the time it took her to fly from the United States to Africa, millions of people went after her. Another example would be there was a woman who did the Stop Stephen Colbert movement, which actually had a connection to Native Americans because he was doing a segment on the Washington football team when he used an Asian epithet. And the woman who went after him and ended up in hiding after she got doxxed. I lots of other stories. Sorry, Elizabeth, go ahead.
No, that's good. That's exactly right. And I
So
did see
cancel
videos
culture.
of that this weekend. Yeah, cancel culture and yeah. So there's definitely some of that, and it's there's an anonymity to TikTok that is sort of stripped away. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like people feel comfortable saying whatever they want, stupid stuff they shouldn't say, maybe because of this sense of affinity. But then there's also this lack of privacy.
Yeah. And actually, I do remember one other issue. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Scams. You run into them a lot.
Yeah.
People who, especially if they can establish friendship first and then they have a problem and gosh, they only need a little bit of help. There's a lot of that happens. And especially if you have a prominent account, people will come to you for help. And you just can't assume that they're on the up and up.
There's also on this scam front, there's a lot of people like trying to use affiliate marketing and getting you, they'll show you a product and then they'll try and get you to go to Amazon to click on it and then they'll try and make money that way. It's not a big like dollar loss for you, but there's a lot of people trying to tell you like, if you do this thing, you'll make a lot of money. And then they make a lot of money off of you trying it. So that's a big thing as well. Okay. Second poll question, just to kind of get the temperature of the room. So remember, do not type your answer in chat, but do not press enter until I say go. How many channels did you have in your home when you were 10 years old? Before you answer that, the answer XYZ. When you were 10 years old.
Okay.
Okay, I'm confused. We're supposed to do an A
two
through E and then okay.
Yeah. So you might be typing AX or you might be typing AZ or BZ. Yeah. But then don't press enter.
No.
Okay, you ready?
Wait. Okay, ready.
Okay. Enter. Go.
Oh, I seem to be sending mine to.
Did I accidentally use the wrong initial?
All right.
No, I didn't. Okay.
So
Typo.
BZ. Okay. Yeah. So everybody says 3, but you forget PBS. Poor PBS was around back then.
Oh yeah.
ABC, CBS, NBC. Yeah. So you had only one. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. I was being ignorant there, right? The more rural situation, probably. Yeah. So E100 plus and Y that we had internet in our home. Yeah. So that yeah. What the reason that this is related to TikTok is this. When we were young, when I was 10, we had 4. And we had no internet. And so everything that I saw on the TV was for the mass audience, was for the majority, right? And it was for people, it was decided on by people who had funding, who had money, right? That would reach the mass audience. And so even the advertising was things like that everybody used. There was no niche marketing. There really wasn't possible on the TV. So everything was for the middle class white person. And so there's this lack of ability to sort of feel connected to that and to see it there's an invisibility that comes to people who weren't in that, or who didn't use those products, or who never saw themselves on TV. And so that's, to me, what has just been so striking to me about TikTok more than anything else that I've seen in my life, is about amplifying and addressing that invisibility. And so this is why I love TikTok. So when I'm going to take a side path here for a second and talk about Illuminative. Illuminative, I heard a speech by this woman, Chris Hawk, who runs Illuminative at a conference 2 years ago. And she talked about the invisibility of Native Americans in this country. And she specifically mentioned how people think that Native Americans are extinct. And here's a Google search that I did on a few days ago about, and I just Googled Native American, and I did an image search. And even 2 years ago, you wouldn't have seen Deb Holland, and you wouldn't have seen these young faces. It would have been this black and white, 100, 200-year-old pictures, right, of representation. And there's this lack, there's many just people. I saw a video this week, or a few weeks ago, a music video that someone created. It's just fabulous music video. And he plays this clip from a documentary where they talk about Native Americans in the past tense. It was blah, blah, blah. And there's no sense of like present tense. And even TV shows, if I saw a Native American or American Indian on TV when I was a child, it was absolutely past tense. So to me, this TikTok is a way to kind of, it just changes the story a little bit. So here's another poll question. Where did you last see a Native American featured in a website, on a TV show, or in a publication?
Is this like in general? When was the exact last time?
Just roughly, when was the last time you saw something on media? Was it something that was just generally, was it something that was intentionally for Native audiences? Was it something that was maybe in your local community? If your community, many of us live in communities that are disproportionately Native American, so our publications have more of it. Or was it a national TV show? There's a national TV show coming out soon that has a Native American actor and character.
Is this official news sources, or could it be social media?
Could be social media, but that's sort of like then, right? But you want to stay away from like your feed, right? I'm thinking more outside your feed, outside your circle. Where have you seen the Native American? Okay, go. Oh, I had another part to that one. Sorry.
Oh.
Sorry. I am messing up here. Okay, so then your second question is, I liked how Native Americans were featured in what I saw. I did not like how they were. I had no opinion about how they were featured. Okay, go.
So some humor. I do have
All
a
right.
publication all around me of various things that I've been interacting with today. So that's what skewed my result. Christy Belcourt's book, and then a zine that I was a part of. So that's what I was looking at.
Okay. So what I'm seeing here mostly is you're seeing it in articles and features that were designed for Native Americans. You're still not seeing them on ABC, NBC, CBS. right? You're still not seeing them portrayed in a positive way on major media.
Or not that
I'm
often.
hoping this is going to change. But you all sort of said you were kind of featured in Native artists, and I'm glad that you liked the way they were featured. That would be bad if it were Y with A.
In my case, it was a review by Dustin Craig, who had been asked to review a book written by Ethan Hawke. So they wanted a native to write it, and they were hoping he would write something very positive, and he shredded it.
On the other hand,
So-
one of my friends / mentors and then one of my famous cousins, they wrote a children's book that's starting to get regional coverage.
Right. So I think it's changing, and I think I don't want to give too much credit to Native, but because that's where she really resonated for me, and in the things that she talked about. And she's working on the mascot issue. She's working on this getting more arts promotion. She's also talking about getting more Native Americans in education and in the textbooks as living, breathing, vibrant members of our society, as opposed to something of the past. But this is what TikTok looks like, right? For me, this is what TikTok looks like for me. And this is young Native Americans with diverse interests and diverse issues, diverse hobbies. They're talking about language. They're talking about beauty. They're talking about stereotypes. They're trying to promote bands and music and creators in all forms that are Native American, another language. He's I think it's Kaimon is his name. This creator here, he is coming at this with LGBTQ on top of a lot of Indigenous issues. With TikTok and the nature of TikTok being on the internet, we're able to, a lot of these voices, and I can't tell you which ones are which, some of these voices are Canadian and some of these are American, and it doesn't matter because many of the issues are similar. But it's amazing because you're going through your feed and suddenly these voices that look like my students and look like my community, and they're sharing all this stuff, and they're positive, or they're dispelling negatives, or they're amplifying voices. It's just incredible to see this, because where else are you seeing these creators? Where else are you hearing these voices? Where else are you able to ask, what's the difference between Ojibwa and Ojibwe, right? And she breaks it down in 60 seconds. She talks about the different names, and there's a lot. This is Notorious Cree, and he talks about a lot about stereotypes and don't ever say this to a Native, and etc. So just why do you dance, and answering these questions about the culture, because people don't understand. And there's fans and there's allies that are listening to this, that reach this audience, not because they want to learn about Native Americans, but because they're just on it for whatever reason that they're on it, but they're getting this information and they're getting this viewpoint, and they're being told repeatedly, we're here and we care and we're creative and we it's amazing. It's amazing. They're talking about identity and race and pride, and they talk about there were a lot of videos about what kind of Native are you, and how offensive that question is, but also just sort of dealing with, I think on this one, he talks about me as a kid. I didn't like my Indigenous features. And so they're not only talking to an external audience or performing from external audience, but they're connecting with each other and connecting with voices like theirs, people who have shared experiences. There's talk of language and dance and regalia and art and cooking and all this. This is a tribal college. We're helping to nation build. Here is this effort that we should absolutely be embracing, that's doing the same thing, is building a nation. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. And there's fantastic humor. There's lots of making fun of aunties. They're addressing the negatives. So they talk about the stereotypes, missing and murdered women. They're talking about the mascot issues and why they're offended about the mascots. We often hear about why people don't want to see them changed, because those are voices maybe who are used to being front and center. But to actually hear from a majority of people from across the country talking about how offensive the mascots are, TikTok just gives that natural voice to that. There's talk of cultural appropriation, historical trauma. There's talks of the boarding schools and the missionaries. It's powerful stuff. During COVID, the Navajo Nation was hit probably the hardest of any community. They were able to talk about that, the Janaes. Talking about Indigenous rights, the environment, voting, the protests we've seen about the pipelines, about the forest and deforestation. It's all there, and it's reaching such a broad audience. It's very nice, very, very nice to see. And it's not just on TikTok. So TikTok becomes the story that is covered in mainstream media. And so here's articles on CBS News, Newsweek, Vogue, Huffington Post, Adweek, Yahoo, about the creators on TikTok and about this native culture on TikTok. So there's a little bit of a biodome or something happening. They're feeding off each other, but they're elevating this voice. And here's the creator I was talking to a second ago, and he's talking about he was on Teen Vogue, as was a creator I'll talk about in a second. So there's this ability to elevate in mainstream media, which reaches maybe even a broader audience. Definitely, to Al's point earlier, an older audience, right? So here's from Indian country today. Here's a Nunukak. I have to include a Nunukak. I'm representing my people, the land that I'm coming from. And so here was Patuk Glenn, and she is a bigger creator on TikTok, talking about life up here. And this is an article from last week, April 7th. In Indian country today, about her TikTok stardom. So again, elevating voices and elevating young voices. That's what that feeds my soul. So where do you start? So I'm just going to quickly go through the anatomy of a TikTok. So this is what happens after you fill out that initial questionnaire. You download the app and you fill this out. Yeah, it starts with the For You, right? And the For You up here is where there's a lot of videos for newbies. It's what's trending will populate here. Newer content will populate in the For You page. And this is what the algorithm thinks you might like. And I read an article that said most users spend about 75% of their time. As you go through the videos and you like somebody and you like a creator that you see, you can click, there'll be a little red plus sign here. It's missing on this video, on this slide, because I've already liked this creator, but it'll be a little plus sign. You click that and now you're following that person. And those videos of all the people you're following appear on the following page. So you can scroll back and forth, toggle back and forth between these two. So any new video that they create will go to following. You may be tempted when you first join TikTok to turn on notifications, and about 3 days later, you will wonder why your phone's on fire, and that's because your creators keep creating new content, and so you'll turn off notifications. You might want to just save yourself some pain and turn off notifications right from the start, but That's a lesson learned. So that's the following and the For You pages. As we go through this, we get to this is who the creator is, their little kind of avatar here. And you can toggle on and off whether you want to follow that person. This is the like button. We're used to like buttons. You'll see this video here had 200,000 likes. When I did this screenshot, these are numbers. They're just astounding to me, right? So you like them. They don't feed the algorithm as much because they're kind of too easy to do. It's easy to like a video, but they're an easy way to connect with people. The comments. Okay, go ahead.
A lot of TikTok users get very upset if they think you're spam liking. Spam liking is when you hit like before the video finishes, which apparently tweaks the algorithm in the wrong way, and it punishes both them and you, at least according to the assumptions of most participants. So yes. if you want to hit like, watch the video. Yeah.
If you're not getting the sense of this from what Dan and I are telling you, a lot of TikTok videos are guesses about what the algorithm likes and doesn't like, and what you need to do to like and dislike a video. So yes, watch. You'll see a TikTok video. It'll say, "Watch me all the way to the end," and that's the video. There's the comments. That also there's a lot of trolling there, but if you're interacting with it enough to stop and write a comment, that seems to feed the algorithm in a way. And then share. And if you click on this share, it opens up a menu, and which it can be different for every video depending on the creator. But you can either send it to Facebook or send it to Instagram, or you can report it if you find content is inaccurate or offensive in some way. You can add it to your favorites. You can duet and stitch, and I'll talk about those in a minute. The interactions you have here seem to have a greater impact on whether this supports the creator or not in the algorithm. Algorithm is just a word that existed long before TikTok, but is huge on TikTok. And then down here, we have the information about the creator. So this is their handle, maybe, at Notorious Cree, and when he posted it. And then here he may give a little brief description of it. And then the hashtags. And the hashtags, as Dan mentioned, lets you reach out to an audience. Other people who are following maybe the Indigenous hashtag will see this video. So it's a way to kind of connect or draw your enemies, Dan. I never thought of that. And then down here is discover. And this is where you can find what's trending, or if you want to do a search for a creator, I'm about to give you a bunch of hashtags and creators. You can get more information about them here. And then this big plus sign, that's your step to creating your own. That's all it takes, is just press that plus sign, and it takes you into the world of becoming the creator yourself. There's an inbox. So if I comment or I start following people, some people send me a little note saying thank you, or if I comment on somebody, they'll tell me they responded or something. So that's it. I wanted to share with you some popular creators. This is coming from news sources primarily. This is they've had articles written about them or been listed as top creators, Indigenous creators. This video is incredible. It's had 7.9 million views, and she talks about her connection to her culture through her mother. And she is this Tia Wood, and you can find her at Tia Michigan. Since I think this PowerPoint is going to wind up somewhere on the wiki, I'm not expecting you to know all this, but if you want to take a picture of these and go and search for these people on TikTok, I recommend it. If I have creators on the call here, Dan, what's yours? Do you have one you want to share?
Yeah, no. I'm northier than thou.
You're what?
Northier than thou.
Northier than thou.
Northier than thou.
Okay, So that's more of an audience there. Then there's hashtags. And I just did a little research on the 7th of April last week and looked at some top ones here. 2.1 billion views on the Indigenous hashtag, 2 billion views, 458.7 million views on Native humor, right? These are huge numbers, right? When you think about, you know, how many of us on the call are not even on TikTok? If you think about how new TikTok is, especially to the American audience, when you think about how this population has been diminished in our media for way too long, these are incredible numbers, and it shows that. Go ahead.
Did you talk? I know I came in just so many minutes late. Did you talk previously about the amount of hashtags that either hurt or help you with the algorithm?
No,
Maybe
you
something
go
to
ahead.
consider in a second. That's a question. I have a professional, at least for my artist page, TikTok, but I mainly use it as a distraction lately. I guess I have some there's just so many media platforms that I have bigger priorities right now, but I need to get back to promotion of my own artist business. So I really appreciate what you're sharing. It's giving me, I don't know.
You got to do it, dude.
Right.
I went off. I got to tell you, I was addicted to this in November, and I had to put down my phone and like go away from TikTok. And then they asked me to do this little talk last week, and so I'm down a rabbit hole again. I can't tell you how many hours I've lost in the last week just on TikTok videos.
Just catching up.
Because it is amazing.
Yeah. For hashtags, I don't know any magic trick to them. I think one thing to keep in mind is popular hashtags, you'll get a burst of interest, but then they will drop off the page very quickly. There's what they call long tail hashtags, where it's a little bit obscure. Hopefully people will still search it, but it may stay on a page for that hashtag for a couple of weeks and they can see it. Things that get shadow banned, it's hit or miss. And often, I think on TikTok, it'll only be for a week or two. I have done videos that got no views, and after a few days, I realized it was a hashtag of some kind. For a while, they did that with COVID. If you put COVID-19 in for, I think, a couple days, they just pretty much blocked the video, and then they stopped. They decided what they wanted to do about it.
Yeah,
it's just hit or miss.
Thank you.
There's a lot of videos right now about this week about shadow banning and about shadow banning for the, as I understand it, correct me, but is like you're not getting any views, but you're not being told, your video is not being taken down, but you're not being told why. It's just gone. It's just like you have no views. You see it, but it's not there for anybody else. It's not getting play in the algorithm. So that is it. So I got a bunch of these. These are just sort of more general ones that had, the minimum one here is 4.7 million views. And Dan is absolutely right. Many of these views might have come from November, Native American Month, Awareness Month, or Appreciation Month. I can't remember what it's actually called, but November might have come from that time period, and then it's dropped off since then. But you can still go back and if you want to get involved in TikTok, I would recommend going to these creators and liking and following pretty aggressively for a little while, and then more and more similar content will appear in your feed.
Another thing, if you're looking to promote, there are trends, and I think TikTok responds to them even more rapidly than other social media. You may not want to do a video to a trend, but if you're looking for hashtags, every now and then I'll find I can think of a hashtag that would be relevant to what I'm doing that actually would connect with a trend, in which case I would certainly use it. If you can think of stuff like that.
Right. So you can build up viewers because everybody's searching for that term. And on the Discover page, it'll say trending stuff. These are more specific hashtags. So there's an Alaska Native one. There's an Inupiaq TikTok. It's a little bit smaller, but it made the list because we're in Kita. So this is, but this is some of the, again, the numbers are impressive. And some of these creators are using these over and over again. So how can I use TikTok? I'm a little bit over on time, so I'm going to skip my poll. But you can use it to promote your content. You can create your own content. So if you want to promote your business, your hobby, your artwork, you can use TikTok to do that. And just be authentic. Don't make a super hyper produced, snazzy kind of deal. Just be authentic. Be real. Kids and pets get more views than anything else. Add your own spin. So you can use hashtag challenges, like Dan was saying, something's trending right now is the DSW challenge. And, so I'm seeing that on every video that I'm watching right now is having that on there, and it's just trying to build views. But you could, if you add native TikTok hashtag to your artwork video, maybe you'll get more views to your content. And you can, one of the things that the college is considering is things like having students create a day in the life at Iḻisaġvik College, and the students post their videos, but they hashtag the college. And that could be a way to help promote higher education, promoting tribal college, promoting students. So as far as like promoting your business, that could be a way to do it, but it won't work. TikTok, it will absolutely not work on TikTok if our recruiter stands there and goes, come to the college, it is good for you. That's not going to work. That won't get any views, no follows, whatever. But if a student sort of makes a cute, fun video about their life at Iḻisaġvik, that could generate views, and that could generate people being aware of the college and maybe even getting more information about it. The article that I was reading was about advertising and influencers. I don't think we need to get into all that, but there is a way to buy advertising on TikTok. I doubt I'm the only person that scrolls right past them. They're not why I'm on TikTok, is to look at an ad for McDonald's or Walmart or anything like that. You can use TikTok to sound younger. Know what a duet is. This isn't a duet. This is a native creator. Patrick is Navajo, is the creator. He's doing a hoop dance here with Ryan Reynolds. Stitched him, duetted him. So this is what'll happen is duet. Ryan Reynolds will use his account and he will show himself watching that other creator's video, and that's a duet. And sometimes they'll respond to what they're hearing, or they'll be nodding their head in agreement, or being, oh my God. A blind react is when you record yourself watching the video for the first time. So theoretically you're seeing it for the first time and you're showing your face as you do it. So it's a way to connect and to build views. So if Ryan Reynolds likes your video, a lot of people are going to see your video. Stitching is like, I think I described that at the beginning. You showed 5-10 seconds of some idiot talking, and then you switch to yourself and reply to him. I can't think of a word right now. Put your finger down. This is a big one. They'll do like, you put 10 fingers up and then they'll ask you questions like, put a finger down if you've ever eaten Oreos. Put a finger down if and you go through them, and they diagnose you with narcissism, or they diagnose you with having experienced trauma, or they diagnose you with being a cool person. I don't know. But put a finger down is a popular video format, but that's the kind of thing that works on TikTok too, is that someone will come up with an idea for how to frame or what storyline to tell in your video, and then you just use that but with your own content. And then we talked about shadow ban. Are there other terms? So doxing was one. Is there other stuff that we should know, terms we should know to sound cool on TikTok?
None. I can't think of anything right now. Sorry.
Okay, it's okay. Okay, finally, how to be a TikTok creator, be authentic. I've seen a lot of people just crying. I've seen a lot of people just kind of like sharing their emotions, and that rawness plays a lot better than something super slick or super produced. Sloppy but daily is what works on TikTok. That's what will get you into the algorithm. That is what will get you followers. Doing a super well-produced video doesn't get you anything but a bunch of likes on that one video. It doesn't necessarily lead to future audience. So that makes it, I think, a little bit different than YouTube. And you got to be patient. 2 people might like your first video, but 4 people might like the next one. And if you can do math, that means a lot in the future.
It seems like public reaction to TikTok is more variable than a lot of other social media. The difference, like you could have TikToks that get less than 100 likes, and then you might have one that gets 30 or 40,000. And that seems like a common variation.
Yeah. Rather than go through like how to be a creator, like there's this video, and again, you can go and just your first TikTok, and it takes you through like how to deal with the filters, how to add music, how to add captions. Native Americans are a voice that has been diminished in our society, in our larger society. And so they have found a voice in TikTok, as has the deaf community, as has the body positivity movement, as had a number of videos that people that didn't feel like they knew people like them and didn't have a voice. And so TikTok has found it. So there's a big push on TikTok to have captions on your video, which is again, it's super positive. It's a super positive thing to see.
What was the post just before then? Did you have like a resource thing? Because you went from like, oh, sorry.
Sorry, this is step by step. This is just doing it, but this is sort of an edited version of this. So if you watch the video or you go to this website, just for lack of time, I'm just going to suggest you go to this is one. I found this video the clearest one to take you step by step. First record it, first pick how long you want to record, make sure you've got nothing private in your background, and then goes through how to add a filter, how to add a special effect if you want one, etc. But a lot of people, it seems, I'm not the only one who watches a lot of these videos before they ever become a creator to get a feel for it. But one thing it does do is it builds your confidence that you can do this. And this is a hyperlink to this video. I feel stupid doing a presentation on TikTok and not showing you a TikTok, but I know with bandwidth, it'll never work. So I didn't even try, but this is a hyperlink. So when this presentation's in the wiki, you can go right to this. This is a hyperlink and this is a hyperlink, and you can go right to it. And it shows you step by step how to do it. But you know what? I'm not slighting a coworker in any way, shape, or means. But if Dan can do this, it's not that hard. Okay.
Maybe slighting me a little bit.
I didn't mean it that way. I mean that with love, Dan. But it's not, it's different if I say Moema can do this versus if I say Dan can do this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not the most tech savvy guy, so she has a point.
Well, fantastic.
I'm so sorry I went over.
That was super, Elizabeth. That's fantastic. Thank you. Really a great, more than an introduction to TikTok. That's really good. And it makes me think, should there be a TikTok presence for Indigiverse? 4.1 billion views. There's somebody's doing something right there, for sure. Is there? I mean, there ought to be a conversation about this with how AEC should use TikTok, the colleges, the Digital Collective, Indigiverse. I guess today is not the day. We're already over time, but yeah, I think that's a discussion to have. What do you guys?
I actually think one thing that I see a lot at Iḻisaġvik is we keep trying to control anything that's promoting our college. And I often find myself thinking about stuff like this, where it's potentially viral marketing if you don't quash it, if you don't make the students think they can't share videos and stuff. Anyway, just one thought on that.
Yeah, the thing about the students doing a little video about the college, or why they go or whatever. A couple of months ago when we had AHEC was recruiting students to do these 2-minute videos about why they go to their college, and that was all going to be compiled and shared for the Hill visits, back in February. That maybe TikTok would have been the way to do that. We could have just asked all students, do a 1-minute video if you feel like it in TikTok. And then we could have selected the ones from there that we would have shared with, the congressional delegations. That's another way to do it. Like Elizabeth, you were saying, the less slick the video, the better, higher the impact. So, yeah.
I think our students need to feel like they have a voice, and I think that would be a real positive way to do it, because it's so simple and it's not meant to put any pressure on to be perfect or to look perfect or to speak perfectly. Just we want to hear what you have to say, and that's what TikTok says to me: is we want to hear what you have to say, and there are people who are interested in what you have to say. And I think if we can put that tool in our students, we're helping our students. Right? We're helping them find their voice. And I think that's part of my job. So, and what I love most about my job.
Yeah.
I also think as far as marketing, the main benefit, it's not going to come from anything that looks like a deliberately intended marketing video, even if it's from the student. It's going to be something the students are doing that's fun, and it happens to be at the college. And if people connect, oh, that's where I could do that. That's great, but we all scan right past anything that looks like it's intended to promote.
Nike does not, you cannot get onto Nike's account, but you can find millions of videos with Nike material in it where Nike is a hashtag on it. Don't tell me that's not intentional, but it's very intentional that there's not a Nike page on TikTok. There's a hashtag, but there's not a page. There's not an account you can join.
Yeah, really interesting. I mean, so much of what we've been working on with the Indigenous Digital Collective, and now with Indigiverse, is getting digital media, encouraging students and faculty to develop their digital media voice. It seems like TikTok is a great entry to doing that. If 60 seconds or a couple of minutes of well produced video, finding what you want to say in that medium, I think that's a super way to get started.
Right.
Yeah. Moima, you had a thought?
Bruce, I think he had his hand up a second ago.
Did you guys do any other social medias other than this one in the thing?
You mean today?
No, just over the course of these meetings.
Oh, have we done other? I don't think we really have, like Facebook or.
Because I'm decent with Facebook and Instagram, but Twitter, and I haven't even started TikTok, but Twitter is one that I really struggle with. It's too political. It bores me to death.
Yeah, I think TikTok's appeal is that it's so visual and it's so, there's music and it's a limited amount of music. So you'll hear Native American videos often have a certain sound behind them. And so it triggers, it's a little bit of a trigger that, okay, this is a good one. But they compared it to like how much more engaging it is than Twitter. Yeah, I agree with you. Twitter is just, ugh.
Yeah, you don't hear
I do
about
that on Twitter, but the place is still kind of a mystery to me.
Yeah, you don't hear about Twitter addicts. People spending 2 hours, they can't get enough tweets. You don't hear that.
Except our president. But yeah.
or the guy that formerly known as president.
Ex-president. Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is really significant. I mean, his campaign his initial mode of communication, and it stayed this way throughout his presidency, was Twitter.
It would never happen, right? His whole rise to presidency would never happen without Twitter.
But for some reason he managed that. Most of the rest of us have nowhere near as much impact.
Yeah. Well, keep working at it. How many followers do you have, Dad?
Real followers, I don't know. Statistics, I'm not going to say. I'm not sure how much it matters because you get dormant accounts and you get fake accounts.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Quick question. When it comes to dormant accounts, I let my social media go dormant for a little bit. How well, do you have any advice for building yourself out of a dead account?
I think you just reanimate it and get started.
Okay.
You know, the only thing to me is like, I know that a significant percentage of the people that are listed as my followers are people that might have been active like 5 or 6 years ago. Right now, they're just a completely empty stat. So they mean nothing to me unless they go back in and start again. But if they did, and I saw them on the line, I'd be interacting with them. But the thing I notice about Twitter is it's like railroad tracks. I built up a base criticizing Donald Trump, to be honest. If I can go on Twitter today and say something sarcastic about Donald Trump and I'll get a few hundred likes, maybe some retweets. It could even go bigger than that. If my friend Austin Parkhill, who does paintings, if I retweet one of his paintings to promote his art, he'll get 3 or 4 likes out of it. And I'm just like, I don't know. You know, you get a fan base that wants one thing, and as long as you do that one thing, they may support it. You do anything else, you might as well have almost no followers.
Yeah, interesting.
Mm.
Okay.
There's 122,000 likes.
122,000 likes.
That's not shabby. That's not shabby, dude.
Was that one of my stats? Or somebody else?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's your stats.
Oh, I didn't even know
think
that's
that
what it
counts.
amounted to.
That counts as an influencer, I think.
Oh, that's a word I don't want to use.
You have almost 2,000 people following you.
Wow.
No, I'm sorry. You're following 2,000 people. Almost 8,000 people are following you.
Wow.
Bruce's?
Not shabby.
That's good. And I've seen accounts that don't have a lot of followers that have a massive impact. You don't need a lot if you got the right ones.
Right.